October price expectations is the topic of today, and as many people know it, the most bullish month for Bitcoin. As we've gone over in this particular video, we're going to be going over the statistics for October, as well as a few other supporting statistics that I do think are rather interesting that I think are a lot less spoken of. But I want to make sure that I get all of the data out there. Perhaps we'll revisit this closer to the beginning of October as well. We are actually back in Dubai, by the way, although I don't have my video up because my camera's actually charging right now. So my apologies on that. But maybe I should, or maybe you're actually rejoicing right now. Who knows? Anyways, as you can see right here on the chart, I have marked off each and every one of October's open to close from Bitcoin's history, and there are 14. However, I should go into a bit of a detail here that there technically is a 15th. The actual first trading month for Bitcoin was October of 2009, but as you can see in the top left-hand corner, the open was 0 and the close was also 0. So I decided not to include it within the data set. Yes, it does seem like it was actually a rather positive month there, but because we don't have hard numbers for that, and also because it's super early as well, I decided not to include it just to kind of keep things a little bit more uniform here, so that we actually have, we're actually looking at things that we actually have data for. Anyways, it is definitely true that October is one of the most is the most bullish month for Bitcoin, not just in terms of whether it's likely to close positively or negatively, but also in terms of average returns. So let's actually go into the data set right here. In this nice little Excel study, I have gone through all of those prior Octobers, recorded the open and close, and as you can see, 11 out of 14 did close positively, giving it a just over 78.5% strike rate for quote unquote being a green month. On top of that, it does have a rather high, or at least in my opinion, rather high, although opinions may vary on this in this regard, average return for those positive closing months at just under 28.5%, which again, I think is like a lot. We'll look at what that means on price action soon enough here. And then also, we should contrast that with the average loss return as well, which is just over 8.5%. So, kind of an maybe not asymmetric, but certainly a nice risk reward profile right there for the only 3 negative closing months for October in Bitcoin's history. Anyways, let's first just look at this data exactly as it is, kind of in a more generic sense, and come up with ranges for price action. Again, 28.5% to the upside versus about 8.5% to the downside. So let's assume that Bitcoin closes somewhere around here. Again, Bitcoin has just under a week left to go for October, but if we were to take the current price of Bitcoin and add about 28.5% to it, just for reference, that would put Bitcoin basically at around 81,000 to 81,500 bucks. So, in my opinion, that's quite nice. If you recall, a few videos ago, we went over several setups based off of the Krown quant automation tool, and there were actually a few setups that did suggest kind of around this sort of price target as well within the next about month and a half, and that was about a week to a week and a half ago now. So that would kind of put us into the end of October. So those things are starting to kind of line up here. In fact, perhaps I could actually just bring one up right now. I will line that up with the 5-day EMA, the 5-day 5 exponential moving average strategy, which, yes, has fired off basically in the, around a little bit before the mid portion of September. And might I remind you, and also remind myself, that the returns for this, despite being, a less than 50% probability to be a positive closing trade, although I do think that the profit factor kind of speaks for itself. If we are to look at the actual average returns for this strategy, well, the average winning trade produces about 36 or just over 36%, again, on average, versus the average losing trade losing about 5.5%. Well, that one fired off when Bitcoin was trading about 58,200. So what would 38% to the upside look like? Oh, that's weird. 81,000 bucks almost. Okay, strange. Oh, by the way, again, the amount of time that we expect in those winning trades is 10 bars, and this is a 5-day time frame, so that would be 50 days. 50 days from about the midpoint of September puts us where? end of October, first, or basically the 1st of November. Very, very interesting how these things work out. Now, again, these are averages. There's going to be variance within these, and it always makes me absolutely fucking tear out my hair when I see some sort of extremely misguided and absolutely fucking lobotomized moron comment that's saying that, hey, this didn't play out exactly to the average. This is wrong. It's like the same thing as saying, for example, hey, men on average are taller than women. So, and then some fucking commenter says, that's not true. My aunt is taller than her husband. It's like, okay, well, you're an idiot. So, yeah. Anyways, you can see that I'm taking a little bit of the brakes off of my tonality right now. I think there's a shift. There's a shift going on in the world right now where you no longer need to be, overly accommodating of such things. Anyways, perhaps I'm wrong with that, and if so, I apologize. I profusely apologize about these transgressions that I'm having right now. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into a couple more very interesting things. So next one, perhaps a little bit less interesting, but I figured to include it. Why not? This is a special October. Why is it a special October? Because it's an October of a halving year or election year or whatever fucking pseudo interesting event that you want to, attribute to price action. Maybe they're all attributing to it. Probably that is the truth. But like some people are like, no, it's elections, man. No, it's the halving, you fucking derp. It's like, all right, probably all of the above. Anyways, and also the moons as well. I can't forget that one. Or there's some sort of moon shit going on as well. Anyways, there have been 3 prior halvings for those Octobers following the halving. 2 out of 3 have actually been positive closing months. The first one, by the way, or the first halving, was a negative closing month, losing almost or over 9.25%, or a little bit more than that. And for the other 2, gaining an average about 21.25%. It's kind of in alignment with those stats as well. But there's something else even more interesting, at least in my opinion. You let me know if you agree or not. But we did a study last year going over what the expected closure for Q4 would be. So now we're talking about the full quarter of this year, not just including October, but October, November, and December. If September closes green, because there's something very interesting about this, or at least in my opinion, very interesting, in that anytime that we've seen September close green, which hasn't happened very often, by the way, although it did happen last year, we've seen we've seen the fourth quarter of that year to follow, basically, be positive every time. It's, again, happened 5 times, but 5 is better than nothing. And, well, what was the average return for these? Technically speaking, it was very large. Again, we're including a quarter of price action, or a quarter of fucking price action. But it was 170%. Now, I would say you have a couple of outliers here, namely these first kind of initial ones in 2011 and 2013, both 400% or a little bit more. So maybe that's overstated. We can play around with numbers, certainly, although I want to say at the outset, I don't think this is going to happen, okay? I don't think this is going to happen, but just for fuck's sake, and so, I don't know, some people can have, like, their moon hopium satisfied as well. What would a 170% move look like from, basically today, which, again, we don't even have to close for this month yet, but it's so high, it's off the charts. It's like 160 to 170,000 bucks. Do I think that's going to happen before end of year? No, I don't. But funny. Anyways, we can actually get rid of these outliers just to see more like 50%, which is so bad, right? so bad. What would 50% even look like on top of price action? There's your nearly 6-digit number, which is the hotly contested number. I want to reiterate my thoughts just in general in this market at this point, although we'll definitely go into this in significantly more detail later on. But I still think that this market is generally going to be bullish into the end of this year, probably even a good portion, if not all of Q1 of the following year, 2025. But I do think that this market, the crypto market, finds its top probably before the end of before the end of Q1 of 2025. And then traditional markets are probably gonna be a little bit after that, but I'm still leaning towards that. I've been saying that for quite some time now. And I don't have any reason to believe that this is not the case just yet. So yeah, anyways, how high do things get within that time period? Who the fuck knows? But this is probably the fun times, coming up here. Anyways, is there anything else that I want to go over? Actually, I kind of hit all of it at this point. So yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, October, very likely to be a bullish month if history is anything to be going off of. Also a rather highly returning month as well. We actually didn't go over the negative side. Let's go over that as well. Let's destroy some hopes and dreams now. What does 8.5% move to the downside look like? Bitcoin back down around $58,000. Possible as well, I suppose, but we shall see. Again, assuming that September does close green, which September needs to do is close above $59,000. It will, then I would say that massively increases the probability that we do see the rest of this year green, and very likely a big October as well. So I'll end this video on that note. Maybe a little bit of a story time now, as we're still early on in this, or not so deep into this video. Yesterday, when myself and Elsa were traveling to the airport in Singapore, for the first time in my life, and I think also in Elsa's life, we got into a car accident. Actually, we got rear-ended. No one was hurt. A little bit of whiplash, but all good. It was like a massive van, so there's plenty of space between us and the car behind us. But there was like a 3-car pileup. It just destroyed the whole fucking highway because everyone was, stuck in traffic. But somehow we made it to our flight on time. Very happy about that. And yeah. Anyways, I'll be signing off on that note. Like I said, we're back in Dubai now. I will be having these videos a little bit earlier, especially than the one today. So, keep an eye out for that, I guess. And yeah, other than that, wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.